ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot.
Wow, that was weird.
From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it is that time of the week for Reentry Monday. I'll recap of what happened over the weekend and get you ready for an action-packed Monday to start the week. 3 games going on as we speak. Riley's Chicago White Sox got a field goal in the first, and now have the bases loaded, no outs, bottom of the second, against should we say the winless Twinkies or something like that? So enjoy it while it lasts, Mr. Riley. You got yourself a wagon here with these palos here. So first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. Great catching up with the WagerWire family this afternoon. Travis, Zach, Guy, Amber, Harley, Carol, Bucks, Allie. The team is stacked. Come on down, join us. You'll have a great 2025, I promise. Viva Tequila Seltzers, 6 flavors in all. The East Coast is cuckoo for coconut. And Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Head on over to Facebook. Introduce yourself to Mr. Terry Smith. While you're there, head on back to AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Steaks, chops, appetizers, seafood, wines. He's got it all. And he's got 4 subscription plans as well. Set it and forget it. Click 1 box every 30 days. Terry will take care of the protein. You just take care of the propane. So without further ado, Mr. Riley Magnuson. What's up, champ?
What is up, my friend? Since you gave me the nice love on my White Sox, it's 8-0 now. So, I think they might just go every third day, unload the clip on their offense, and then run and hide for a couple of days is so far the pattern. But nonetheless, you're right. White Sox, nice, probably 45 degrees, I think, in Chicago. It usually doesn't have the ball jumping out of the yard like that, but always love to do that when you can against your division teams, no matter where the projections are for the White Sox, which obviously is not good. But nonetheless, I'm hoping to. Obviously, there's plenty more that people are tuning into than to hear me talk about the worst team in the league, or one of the worst teams in the league. But I'm hoping to at least not be total miserable and not be a laughingstock Our grounds crew had a moment that made that tough yesterday, although that wasn't their fault. It was a monsoon and there was hail. My brother was there, and he was like, the greatest grounds crew in the history wouldn't have fixed that solution. So you can't chalk that up to the White Sox being that incompetent, although I know people will. But nonetheless, great fun weekend of college basketball. Unbelievable finish yesterday in the PGA Tour, Minwoo League getting a win, and fun Saturday of UFC as well. So had a great weekend watching some action.
Well, obviously the headline of the NCAA, we'll get to that one. I promise it won't be a 2-hour show here. Did have some fun in the PGA. As you know, you get our information sent to you daily. Woke up and you said, and I know it was 8 shots back, but you know how we read the Sunday board. You take the leader, even though he's got a 3-shot lead, you take him out of picture. Then you get that next, pair, and then you take your eyes further down. You're going to give me plus 7,000 on Rory McIlroy. I'll take it all day, twice on Sundays. Scotty was like 5-6 back. He was plus 550, but Rory led a charge. And let me just tell you, for a $20 bet to win 1,400, I got my action for the day on Rory. And then Scotty gets up to second. Again, just couldn't get that Min to get that bogey or double bogey to flip the script. But as you said, great win there.
Yeah, and it really gives, the Houston Open, not every, the average golf fan, obviously, in 2 weeks probably isn't going to remember who won the Houston Open, but it does at least give some credit to a guy who has been coming up this last year, and I don't even know how long it's been now that he's been kind of knocking on the door. And you had those moments where the world number one, who hasn't looked great and is finally starting to show, get back to being Scotty that we know, breathing down your neck on 17 and 18 on Sunday, and doesn't really blink and brings it home. Obviously doesn't grab the ball by the horns and have a birdie or anything, but fantastic. I can't even remember if it was a lag putt or if it was a little chip on 18 at the end or what it was, but either way, fantastic nails there, and I expect him to be a player in at least one or two of these major championships potentially this year, Minwoo.
And I'm just going to jump in. The Red Sox dreaded win the opening day, lose 3 in a row. Devers on historic pace on strikeouts. A typical first inning for the Sox here. Duran flies out. Devers at least walked. Bregman singles to deep center, first and second. Reisnider strikes out. Trevor Story strikes out. So that's been the Red Sox in a cloud of dust so far. You watch Baltimore come up, put a crooked number up, but had again spot on the PGA. UFC, I did watch a lot of the fights, the co-main event. We talked about the kid from Denver, and I think he still doesn't know where he is. I mean, the guy was Dober was just knocked out and then holding on to this leg, for dear life, and he's just getting pounded and pounded and pounded. Yeah. The ref stops the fight, and then Dober gets up like, what's going? So, so I would be surprised if he fights anytime soon there. And then the main event, I thought the decision was correct, but again, when you're trying to judge a UFC fight, when you're trying to judge a boxing fight, and Lou talks about this, and Bill Krakenberg talks about it as well. When you're concentrating on one side, your brain is focused, and you're leaning to that side. And so when you get these judges that score at the exact opposite, it's like in a basketball game, how come they didn't call that foul? How come they didn't call in a football game? Yeah, in a football game, well, that wasn't pass interference. What about that hold? I was rooting for the underdog in the main event, and it was a tough fight, I thought, to score. I want to ask you, how did you see that fight when the dust settled?
Right. I think they got it right at the end of the day. But, when you see a unanimous decision and you see essentially 3 rounds to, or whatever it was, 4 rounds to 1, 3 rounds to whatever it was, I don't even remember now. You think it was lopsided. It wasn't lopsided. Like, Steve Verseg is coming up. I'm going to be looking for him, whoever he's fighting next, as a guy who can win some fights. I mean, he is on, whatever, that division is should be. He's top 4 or 5 contender. I expect him to win his next fight and have a shot, whether it's a rematch with Moreno, when Moreno goes and gets the title shot. I don't know, but it was a really good fight, honestly. Erceg had a fantastic game plan. You come out thinking, yeah, you probably give it to Moreno, but I don't think it was, or I think it was closer than, it's kind of like that. You get an NBA or a basketball game that's, a 5-point game for the entirety of the game, and then the team that was winning by 3-4 points goes on a 10-0 run at the end. I'm not saying Moreno did that at the very end, but another one where you look at that score at a basketball game, it's like, oh man, they won by 15. Must not have been much of a contest. And anyone watching was like, actually, it was fantastic until the very end. Not the same thing where it was, all the way until the end, but. Erceg was really, really good, and I'm going to be looking for him next time. You said it with Drew Dover. Don't know what's next out of him. But obviously, a fight night in Mexico, you're going to get everyone in the crowd, a home game for some of those fighters. There's a couple other guys. There's one guy who was 22 years old. This was one that didn't have a Mexican fighter in it, but Ateba Gautier, 22-year-old out of Cameroon on, I think it was one of the prelims. Just an absolute freak of a human being. The guy that he was fighting, I think he's in his late mid-30s and probably a good fighter, but just as soon as the fight starts, it's like these two men are not the same athlete right now. Like, get this guy a good fight immediately. So Ateba Gautier, as a person you're going to be wanting to watch out for. I think that was his first official UFC fight. I think he had 1 or 2 in the Contender Series. But Ateba Gautier out of Cameroon, middleweight, is going to take that division by storm. He was an absolute freak. And then there were some other solid fights. A lot of the Mexican fighters obviously showed out. Edgar Chairez, another one that was really, really good. I think that was before the Dober-Torres fight. So, fun night of action there. So, some guys that it's a great one to, like I said, with Ateba Gautier. If I talked to you a week ago and said I had any idea how that fight was going to go, I had never watched the guy fight before. But now you see a fight like that when you're not a diehard fighting fan. And you're like, man, that guy, I don't know what it is, but he's going somewhere for sure.
The grappler. I'm drawing a blank there. The up and comer. He was on the main.
Is that Chairez that I'm talking about? He won by submission.
No, it went to a decision. Keep
okay.
going down the card.
Is that Rojas? Raul Rojas?
Rojas.
Yeah.
Am I missing something there? I thought it was an ugly fight.
That was not his best. I've seen him fight a few times. I was like,
okay.
Oh, man, that's going to be lopsided. That was not his best by any stretch of the measure. I actually thought that one was one where I had a $5 freebie, so I threw 4 favorites together just to have a little pizza and beer money on it. That was one where he won, I think, unanimous 29-28, so 2 rounds to 1, and as they're going to decision, I'm like, I don't feel that great about this fight right here, honestly, with that guy there. So if I'm thinking of it correctly. But, that guy's 20 years old. I've seen he's looked fantastic on a couple of these spots like that. I think that's probably the second time where you've kind of waited for him to put on a show and not really. So still a guy to watch. Definitely one you'd probably want to tiptoe around if you're adding him. I think he was like minus 500 the other day, so it was really just me just trying to have some extra fun on Saturday night. But if he's a big favorite, you probably want to let him mature a little bit and cut his teeth a little bit before you're really that confident in Rojas there.
All right, March Madness. I don't use the choke word. I hate the choke word. I don't blame the refs. I hate to use the refs. I thought Houston got a raw deal for most of the game against Purdue. It was like 60 miles from a Purdue home game there. Texas Tech absolutely played their asses off. And then you see a lot of social media saying, they choked it away. Florida, we know, is the better team. As UConn outplayed Florida for 36 minutes, then Florida leaned on them. Florida did it again to Texas Tech. Yesterday, listen, you can have the dream matchup. I talk about Alabama having the dream matchup against BYU, 2 teams that want to shoot the 3. Whoever makes the most threes, that was Alabama, 25 of them, you're going to survive in advance. Yeah. Well, they met their match, obviously, against Duke. You weren't going to duplicate that, first of all. And second of all, their defense is not going to allow you to get the open looks that BYU did. So Duke moves on. Then yesterday, Auburn, the better team, a great game. the look out when Broom goes down, not just the ankle but the elbow. Duke, I don't know what else. Duke is Duke. Let me go back to Houston for a second, because then matchups. Tennessee wants to play like Houston, and I knew that. It's almost like bringing a knife to a gunfight. There was no way you were going to be able to play that style. And great. Listen, Tennessee's no slouch. There's no slouch. But when you score 15 points in an Elite Eight game, you're going to lose 98% of them. They go out and score 35 in the second half. Listen, the first time in 17 years, 4 number ones got there. And I think all 4 number ones deserving. Now we go to San Antonio. Now Houston gets to play that home game, semi-home game. They 4.5-point underdogs. My true thought process, Riley, was what was the over-under going to be? 140 and a Duke number, 130 and a Houston number. They give you the 136.5. So I'll let you talk about what you saw over the weekend first.
Right, and just for the reference, up to 5.5 in that Duke Houston game on some books now, and then I'm seeing I was seeing the same thing, 4.5 this morning and last night, but 5.5 now. But no, I mean, you said it, and I'm excited for this Duke Houston matchup, because this will be the most size by far that Duke has matched up against, and you and I talked about them getting tested, and that matchup was probably or certainly was favoring Duke, but they've been getting tested now with talent these last 2 weeks now. But Houston obviously is going to be a different test. You have Michigan State. You and I talked about they're just not a team that can come from behind. Did a little bit on Friday night against Ole Miss, a little bit, but obviously you're not going to do that twice in a row. I said it. Michigan State's very good. They can win. They can beat any of these teams that are probably the number 1 seed. Can they go through a gauntlet of having to beat 2 or 3 of them in a row? No, and obviously they didn't beat any, but you know what I mean there. And then, the Broom thing. Michigan State at that point I think was toast anyways. But you get Broom back and he steps in and hits a 3 right off the bat, and you're like, oh boy, this is going to be ugly. Alabama, you said it, Alabama. They weren't going to duplicate it. It wouldn't have mattered anyways. There was Sears had a terrible game. Even if he has a good game, maybe it's a 10-point game instead of a 20-point game. So Alabama, there's just some of these teams right now that are living and dying by that, the way the Alabama plays in that sense. The Illinois, my neck of the woods kind of plays, where it's all or nothing. And when it doesn't go your way, it's going to be an ugly freaking game. So I don't know that they're going to change. I mean, those teams are knocking on the doorstep, and I, depending on what organization are and what school you are, you might be happy to make the tournament every year or the Sweet 16 Elite Eight every year, and that's your cap. And maybe on one of these years you'll find lightning in a bottle, but the grass isn't always greener. So sometimes these teams will just stick and stay in those ways and hope they find lightning in a bottle one of these years.
And all the people bitching and whining and screaming, you got 4 number ones, you got 2 great matchups. You're going to have a great game on Monday regardless. I really feel for the coaches, because there's over 1,000 kids already in the transfer portal. Oh, by the way, these 4 teams that are now getting ready for the Final Four, now they got to deal with the nil. And the coaches, like they were talking to Izzo, after he loses, 40 minutes away from the Final Four. And he's like, now I want to enjoy the moment with these kids. I don't want to have to deal with what's going on. So it's a mess. And I saw Jay Billis had a good conversation where you need to turn this into paid contracts, where I'm going to sign Riley Magnuson to a 4-year deal. And here's what I'm going to offer you. And then I'm going to offer you first 3 guaranteed. Okay. Now, if you want to go where the grass is greener, you or your other school is going to have to buy you out of this contract, because when you were coaching in the college back in the day, you spent all your time recruiting on someone that was going to stay for 4 years. Well, then it used to be, well, at least if I got you for 3, at least we can build the culture together. Mm-hmm. Now in comes Coach Cal and a few of these other coaches, one and done. I'm going to get the one and done guys, and that's how we're going to compete. Now, it's a shit show out there, Riley.
Yeah, it is. There has to be something that changes because there is some benefit to where, 15 years ago, a kid who's in a hell situation or a coach leaves or yada, 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 and the kid is in a terrible, terrible situation, got to transfer, and then he's got to sit an entire year out and then, finally gets to play his post-grad year or something like that. So there is, and I'm not, disagreeing with anything you're saying. There was some necessity to it, but you're right. I mean, you get guys who you pull up their college career stats, and they got 4 different teams they've played for. It's obnoxious, and there's some entertainment out of it as far as when kids need to get out of a situation, then it's fantastic, and you get some good situations out of it. But you gotta. Illinois guard Trey White enters the transfer portal. You have great seasons, and you got these fans where like, oh man, that was tough, but now we can turn to next year, and in the blink of an eye, they're in the transfer portal again, and maybe you get them back, but chances are they're heading for greener pastures and wherever the biggest paycheck's coming from right now.
And I see, again, Dan Hurley, we take the back-to-back championships, and then, let me see, last year was 4 guys to the NBA. I think the year before was 3, and now you got all the kids on the bench jumping in the transfer portal. 1 year of Hurley's enough. And the comedy of Riley, Cooper Flagg, he came to decide between Duke and UConn. He could have gone to UConn for the year, which that UConn team obviously probably would have still been playing if they had Cooper Flagg. But
Sure.
the comedy is, I'm all set. I don't need that Dan Hurley experience. Let me go to Duke. But it's a shit show out there.
Yeah. It is, and I mean the John Shire press train is getting some positive feedback these last couple of weeks as far as Duke isn't as, for most people. I mean, I've never liked Duke. I've hated Duke at many times. This is the least hateable for me that Duke has ever been. I don't hate John Shire. I have no ill will towards him. Massive Cooper Flagg fan on the 0.1% chance that he's a Chicago Bull. Not likely, but 0.1% chance. I'll take it. But I have no ill will towards them at all. I'm not saying I'm rooting for them. I've got Houston winning. I've got a future on Houston. I got them in my brackets, whatnot. So I'll be rooting for Houston on Saturday. But nonetheless, as far as that train is concerned, John Shire, I saw him on Pat McAfee having good conversations. Pat Bev was talking him up a couple weeks ago about what he used to be in high school and whatnot. So the John Shire press train is trending in the right direction, whether they're winning or not.
No, and we'll have all week to go through the games. I mean, my first initial thought very simply is this. If Houston can roll the ball out and play their style, keep it in the high 50s, low 60s, first one to 65, Houston can beat them. As soon as Duke starts tipping their toes in the 70, 71, 72, Duke will be playing on Monday. Florida already beat Auburn in the jungle. That line opened up at 2.5. I think they're a little nervous there because I think there's a lot of people waiting to jump on the Auburn train here. Listen, I have Florida Final Four ticket cashed. I got Florida cutting the nets down. I'm scared to death of Auburn. Obviously, I think Duke is the team to beat. I did 2 brackets. I have a Florida championship. I have a Houston championship. So I only did 2 brackets. Obviously, my third would have been Duke, but I didn't put a third one in. In my survivor pool, I survived to the Final Four. I have Florida left and I have Duke left. So again, the easy thought process is to play Florida on Saturday. Hope Florida beats Auburn. Hope Duke wins. And then I got Duke left on Monday. There's still 21 of us left. I think 10 people did the same thing that I did all over the weekend. So we'll see there. But initial thoughts, are you expecting a Duke Florida, or do you have any other thoughts?
I guess that would be if you put a gun to my head, that's where I would be going with that. I do think Houston can match up with them well. But you said something, I can't remember if it was this past week or the week before, obviously different makeup of the team, but this Duke team does remind you a lot of the way they're winning these games of those last couple of years at UConn, at least in the tournament. So I think Houston would be the biggest test, and, this Houston team can obviously give them problems, but if you can't hold Cooper Flagg under 16, 17, 18 points, and there's more keys to the game other than that. But if you can hold him under that and give him headaches like we haven't really seen before, then I think that's one way they do it, but I just don't think they can. So I'll go toss up more on the Florida Auburn train. Obviously, 2.5 line, whatever. But I will lean towards Florida. I think they are the better team, but it wouldn't surprise me either way. Got to give either thoughts and prayers or you've been singing hallelujahs to anyone who had the Ole Miss plus 3.5 on Friday night, though. The duck that went in at the last second on that one. Oh my God! I had my takeover pool, and Ole Miss was my last team. But whenever they set the numbers, it was 2.5, so it didn't matter for me. And I was cussing my TV out before that. But anyone thoughts and prayers if you had Michigan State minus 3.5, and you hopefully you've been you went to church yesterday if you had Ole Miss plus 3.5 on Friday night.
And that's why, again, I've really shifted to team totals because I hate that damn backdoor. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. You had Florida the other night that scored 20 points in the last 2.5 minutes to get their team total over. It happens so many times. If you get as we like to say, the perfect storm, score a basket foul, you can score 10, 15, 20 points in the last minute and a half. So I really lean to those. I'll do some first half spreads and stuff. But, you get into these type of games here where Duke's going to close 5.5. I don't think it will get to 6, but it's going to be at least 5. So you can have Houston down by 7, and they launch a 3 from quarter court. Bing, bang, boom, lands on 4. So you are spot on. It hits the back of the rim and just.
I know. As I say, there was one. I can't remember if it was conference tournaments or if it was early tournaments. But it was something similar. But this one, the way it went in, I saw somebody else look like a bird. And this is not an original thought, but it looked like a bird hitting the window and just sliding down into the basket, a dead bird. But anyways, NBA over the weekend, nothing too crazy. My Bulls come back down to earth a little bit the other night. They are 14.5-point dogs against the Thunder tonight, my friend. Thunder still, or I guess everyone's still got a handful more games left. Thunder got everything wrapped up. Were you surprised to see? And I gotta. So I'm not putting the cart in front of the horse that the Bulls are, a legitimate, top 10 team in the NBA or anything like that, but they've been playing better. Thunder obviously still playing well, but have the West wrapped up by far. Surprising to see a 14.5-point spread in a situation like that, or am I reading too much into this and the Bulls are coming back to life is the answer here?
Well, I got something bigger than that. If you pull up your screen for odds to win the championship and then odds to win the West, who's hotter than the Rockets right now?
Yeah, nobody.
And go check their price to win the championship. It's just, unless someone had a misprint, I almost fell out of my stool. It's stupid.
It is. I'm struggling to find it here. Here we go. They are on DraftKings. They might have slipped a little bit. They are plus 12,000.
Yeah, I saw 14,000 on the screen. Yeah. 14,000. Now, just are they going to win?
Less likely than the Pacers, by the way. Less likely than the Indiana Pacers.
So I don't have the seedings in front of me. I saw 14,000 somewhere, and my point is, if you get them to win one round, just the first round, now you're sitting with a ticket. Obviously, if you bought that ticket, you're gonna get them. What are they to win the West?
They are plus 3,000.
Okay. You take them to pizza and beer money at 14,000 or 12,000. You do pizza and beer money on the West. Get them to win the first round. And now you got some big tickets there where you take their opposition on the money line. You can do some spread tickets as well. If they win 2 rounds, now you're really cooking with Crisco. Not the same number Dallas was last year, but the same approach. Dallas was a big number last year, and they got to the finals. Wouldn't it be something if it was Ime versus the Celtics? And then Jaylen Brown says, don't worry, coach, I'll be on your side next year. But again, I like where you're talking, though, about your Bulls. I do. You're playing some good ball. I mean, you got a little giddy with it the other day. I mean, what a final there. But what's the temperature in the room? What's the fans saying?
As far as this game, I guess I don't know, but people are still. I guess there's the debate is whether they should have been taking this entire time or not, because everyone knows we're not going anywhere. But I mean, the first 6 months of the season, you'd ask, what's the temperature in Chicago? There isn't one. Nobody cares about this Bulls team. And now, even before that Lakers game with Giddey hitting the half-court shot, the rumblings are starting to get there that there's at least some pieces that the Bulls fans are excited about. Their first-round pick from last year, Matas Buzelis, is actually playing really, really well and got people excited. So there went from 3 months ago, there wasn't any temperature. There was no thermometer in the room for you to take temperature of Bulls fans other than get us out of this mediocre hell that we're in. To you got a first-round pick that we love. Kobe White's playing out of his mind. Josh Giddey looks like he's improving and is, at least a solid piece to keep around for now. And so, we would like to be in the lottery and have a chance at a couple lottery balls. I tell you that much. But as far as this team is concerned, people are having more fun with this team. The ratings are going up. Even before, like I said, even it was anyone outside of the Bulls fan base is probably going to point to that Lakers game. Even my fiance was like, "You're only a little more excited because of that Lakers game," and I was like, "No, I was already on my way there before that game." But and even the other night against the Mavs, a lot of times when you have I think it was a 4-game winning streak and you have a wild win like that, you regress typically in a lot of ways. They were favored, which I was not. I was a little jaded by, but they put up a good effort, had a good comeback the other night against the Mavs and just came up short. So 14.5 does feel like a lot for a team who 2 months ago you throw that line at me, I'm like, yep, that sounds about right. And with the caveat that the Thunder have everything wrapped up by far with 8 games left, I think. They've won 9 in a row, so that's obviously part of it. So they're still playing like they're hell bent on closing this thing out, even though they've had it closed out. But 14.5 seems like a lot, but I'm gonna rest on my laurels and I'll enjoy it as a fan and hope we get a nice little upset there. But right now I think the sights are set on seeing if you can climb up to the 7 or 8 seed, so you get 2 chances at a play-in win, as opposed to in the 9th spot you've got to win 2 games in that way. So I don't know. I'm torn now because the Bulls aren't a free agency destination, Jeff. I think if you're not going through the draft. I think there is something to be said for the Bulls have essentially stamped. They're saying we're not tanking. There's merit in winning games and creating a winning culture for your young guys. And I do agree with that. But when you've got no chance at a top, I shouldn't say no chance, but a 2% chance at a top 5 pick, and you've never been a free agency destination, then you've got to look yourself in the mirror and ask, how do you get yourself better after this year and build on this? And that's still where my lack of optimism lies, because if they don't get any good lottery luck, I'm never going to be too optimistic in free agency. In my 30 years of life, I've never been given a very nice present in free agency as a Bulls fan. So until that happens, I'm not going to hold my breath on any type of free agency. So a lot of more buzz than there ever was this last few seasons here in Chicago, but still holding our breath because we don't know how we're going to get better after this year, Jeff.
ECSI VIPs, it's early in baseball, but it's still a blueprint. It's still a numbers game. And when they give you a 5.5 in the first 5, and the under over is 9.5, but the 5.5 in the first 5 with the wind blowing out is usually a sign. And everyone who's a part of the ECSI VIPs, we gave out the Baltimore and Red Sox first 5 over 5.5. Sox strand 2 guys in the first inning. Baltimore scores 4. Red Sox say, hold my beer. Duran 2-run triple. 4-2 going to the bottom of the second. So all the ECSI VIPs who went 3-0 on Sunday now cash this ticket in the bottom of the top of the second. And yes, Rafi Devers did strike out again there. But 4-2, congrats. Start the week 1-0. I'm working on the nightcap there. So hats off there. Hey, you know what I didn't touch upon? And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't give a rat's ass. I know nothing about this Crown tournament going on in Vegas. You have the CBI, you have the NIT, you have March Madness here. Now they got this thing called the Crown, where I saw Derek Stevens in the Circa. They're putting on a big event for it. It's in Vegas at the MGM Grand. I assume just a money grab. What the bleep is this? What is
I forgot. Yeah, sorry. I forgot they were doing this. I remember they announced this. Forgot they were doing it. Seems asinine that it's this late into you have the CBI, like you said, which, by the way, my alma mater is the champions of, so I got to give my little victory lap on that one. So anyways, and the NIT, I think semifinals might even be tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't been paying attention to the NIT, I can't lie, but it is bizarre, and I don't like when any postseason tournament has teams that are without having earned a way in. I mean, DePaul's 14-19 and playing in this damn thing tomorrow night. USC's a losing team. I mean, obviously those teams played really good competition, but nevertheless, it's a money grab, obviously. Trying to, I assume, usurp the NIT as the second best invitational tournament, I would assume is what they're trying to do long term. It is just weird that it's, I guess you get some buzz when there's you let the other tournaments die out, and now you got some buzz the week of the Final Four, I guess. But I don't know. I forgot that it existed, and then I don't know if it was the same conversation you saw or what, but I saw someone else on Twitter talking about it and showing some odds and likelihoods, and I was just like, what are we talking about? I don't care about this thing now.
Well, the funny thing is Utah and Butler have started the first game of the Crown at the MGM Grand, 17-14, not even a full 5 minutes in. So obviously defense is not needed here. And listen, I was a big fan of the NIT because teams used to always, hey, we didn't make the big dance, but coaches would use it as a stepping stone. Hey, we can get 4, 5, 6 games here, and we can use that to parlay into next year. Then they added the CBI, and then people started turning down NIT bids. Well, if we didn't make it to the NCAAs, we're just taking our ball and going home. Yeah. And now you throw in, hey, why don't you spend a week in Vegas? We'll take care of you and roll out the ball and have some fun.
Yeah. What have they been doing for the last 2-3 weeks? If I'm one of these college kids and I'm thinking about the transfer portal, I'm like, the hell with this tournament. What are we talking about here?
And Billy says I played Utah -2 and Georgetown -1.5.
Hey.
Well, Billy, I hope you're winning because it's been a while since we've connected. We're crushing it here, but again, we will reconnect. I do have that missed phone call to catch up to you, so I hope you're winning and you're behaving, staying in your lanes. It's Monday. It's a new start of a week, last day of March. Of course, we start a new month tomorrow, April 1st here. Baseball going on, the Crown going on, a lot going on, Riley.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I don't have too much else to add today. Baseball, a lot of baseball on today, but you're obviously getting into just about everybody's fourth and fifth man in the rotation. So really, not too many good pitching matchups today, my friend. You've got obviously 4 games going on now. I don't have too much as far as baseball the rest of the evening. Braves 0-4, got to get out of that hole, and now they've got the greatest team of all time that they've got to go and spend a few days with. So curious to see how the Braves make it out of this week and what the outlook looks like after this week.
Yeah, it's going to be some teams 0-3. Some Braves scored 1 run over the weekend, and now they get to travel to the Dodgers, who are 5-0 and face Glass now. So a lot on the docket. Everyone listening here, I'll pull up some hockey. Billy Hewlin, I got you on speed dial as I'm typing, but a lot going on here, guys. Let me see if I can pull up some hockey as we speak. Let me see here. Hockey. The only team total right now, Colorado, over 3.5 against Calgary. You'll have to pay some juice there, -25 cents. If you like Dallas tonight in Seattle, over 3.5, and that will be at even money. Let me see if I can pull up some MLB, some people here. If you like the Cubbies, over 4.5, even money at Oakland. If you like the Padres to keep the train rolling, over 4.5 plus 125. If you like the Indians, over 3.5 minus 30 cents there. The Cardinals against the Angels, Mikolas versus Anderson. Cardinals over 3.5 plus 120. If you think the Angels can get to 4 today, you'll have to lay 20 cents there. The Jays, who are hitting and raking right now, over 4.5 plus 105. If you like the Nats to score 4 today, you'll have to lay 20 cents there. And Texas and Cincinnati, supposed to be a shootout. First 1 to 5 wins. If you like the Rangers today, over 4.5 minus 10 cents. If you think it's going to be the red side, over 4.5 plus 25 cents. Kansas City was over 4.5. They're on 4 right now, plus 20 cents. We already talked about the first 5 with the Red Sox here, 4-2. And Riley, your White Sox now up 9-0. Their team total was 2.5. I think they got that times 4 right now.
Yeah, something like that. And don't want to jinx it, and hopefully there's not a 10 spot coming for the Twinkies here. But the starting rotation for the White Sox, who won 41 games last year, has not allowed an earned run yet through 3.5 games right now. They are 1-2 and only might be 2-2, but 0 earned runs allowed by the starting rotation, where I'd give anyone that isn't a White Sox fan or anyone who covers sports every day $100 if they can name any of the first 3 pitchers who pitched for the White Sox this year so far.
Well, it wasn't Mark Burley. It wasn't Dylan Cease. Chris Sale. No. Shit, I'll have to look there.
I don't know if I could remember the full names of the first 3 pitchers that pitched. I know Martin Perez is out there today, and hoping we catch 2023 Martin Perez this year. But other than that, it's this might be the crowning achievement of their starting pitching staff is 3.5 games without any earned runs.
Well, busy times ahead. Tomorrow morning, 10:15 or 10:20, Andrew McGinnis will be back. He'll be talking some NHL before he goes on a cruise with the family. Then around 10:50, it will be the NCAA Insiders talking some midweek college baseball. Wednesday, Brady Cannon will be back to talk the week before the Masters. There on Wednesday. Myself and Riley will be back Wednesday afternoon or early evening for the closing bell. Thursday, we'll have Adam Trigger on talking some bases. We'll also have Tyler Wyatt on talking Final Four. Thursday afternoon, 3 o'clock, Lou Finicaro back for UFC back in Vegas, I think, at the Apex there. And then Friday, of course, back with the NCAA Insiders, and me and Riley will be back in the afternoon for the closing bell. So I want to thank everyone. Billy, good shout out here. I'll swing back this afternoon. I'm glad you're back. Glad all is well again. Always hug Rebecca for us here from the East Coast. Everyone else, questions, comments, concerns, go to eastcoastsportsinvestors.com, top right, plans and pricing, scroll all the way to the bottom. We'll put the retail aside. If you want our place sent to your cell and email as low as $3 a day, you can jump on board there. And every 30 days, it's like a gym membership. Your card gets swiped. We did partner with the Dub Club as well. You can get that special for $2 a day. That's a limited offer there as we speak. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson1. We wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy yourself. It's a new week, last day of March. Tomorrow starts a new month. April is here. Final Four weekend. Shout out to UConn tonight. 15-point favorites over the Juju-less USC Trojans. A win by Paige Beckers and the Huskies. They head to the Final Four. So we'll head on. Oh, and shout out UConn hockey losing overtime to Penn State, who now will be their first Final Four. Frozen Four, excuse me. UConn would have been their first Frozen Four. And everyone from the ECSI VIPs that had Denver plus 155, they eliminate BC yesterday. They're heading back to the Frozen Four as well. So everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the morning.